to free.
That's right.
In 1958, Birmingham was really sort of embarking on at least preparing for what would take place in the next few years. In 56, of course, the NAACP is outlawed from organizing in the state of Alabama. And the Alabama Christian Movement for Human Rights is developed. 1958, when you returned, did you go to work at U.S. Steel?
No. When I came back in 1958, I was hustling in the pool room and shooting craps.
Okay.
That kind of stuff. And I was waiting to go back to Detroit to work at Dodge automobile plant when they sent me a telegram to come back. In the meantime, I started the miles in '59. Okay. And when they called me to come back to work at Dodge Main, I decided to stay in college, and I didn't go back.
So you remained in college at Miles between 58 and...
Yeah, well, I started in '59, the summer of '59.
Okay. You were a student leader at the time.
Yeah, I was student government president.
Okay. How did that evolve? How did you get involved in student government?
Well, you know, when time to run for the offices, a lot of the students asked me to run. So I ran, and I won.
So you were perceived as a leader when you...
Yeah, well, you see, I was much older than the majority of the students. You see, I was about 29 or 30 when I went to college. And most of these kids were like 18, 19, 20.
Yeah. Well, and you happened then to have been at Miles at a really volatile time. Because in 1960, of course, you had the beginning of the sit-in movement, although it began much earlier. But college students started getting involved. In '61, you have the freedom rides that come. And Miles then is organizing. Tell me a little about that period between '60 and prior to the demonstrations in '63.
Well, I believe it was in '59, the fall of '59. Some of the students went down in the park, Kelly Ingram Park, to protest, and they were arrested. And at that time, Dr. Bell was president of Miles College, and his philosophy was 360 degrees away from ours in terms of what we were about.
We meaning the students?
Students, yeah. And so that little protest didn't get off the ground, really. The infamous Bull Connor was in office then, as you may well know. And we didn't really get involved again until I would think probably around late '61 when we started organizing.
Right. Were you at all involved, familiar with what was taking place with the development of the Alabama Christian Movement for Human Rights?
No, I became a member before the demonstrations and the Selective Buying Campaign and all that stuff. But in the very beginning, when Reverend Shuttlesworth organized it, I don't think I had come back to Birmingham at that time.
Yeah, they organized in '56.
Yeah, well,
you were away
I was
at
away.
that time. In '61, when the organizing of students started to take place, what precipitated that?
Well, some of the students, like in North Carolina, were protesting and demonstrating. Right. And a group of us felt that we should do the same thing because we were hamstrung by segregation and discrimination and all those other ills and wrongs. So we just got a committee together. U.W. Clement, who is now federal judge U.W. Clement, Shelley Millender, you may know Shelley.
I do know Shelley.
a fellow by the name of Rotha Meredith. And Dr. Jonathan McPherson, who at that time was a chemistry professor here, who now is the owner of Scott McPherson Funeral Home. He was our advisor and worked with us in the very beginning.
And this is based upon what you see happening in North Carolina with the 4 students who started the city.
Yeah. We felt that we could not sit idly by and not protest here, because the conditions in Alabama were worse than those in North Carolina. And I personally never accepted the role of being subservient to white folk, even as a boy, young boy.
What do you remember? Why do you say that as a young boy you didn't accept it?
Because occasionally I would get in fights with white boys about calling me nigger. And I'd fight at the drop of a hat. And then, you walking on the sidewalk sometime and you approach a white person, they'd want you to move off and let them by. And I refused to do it. And stuff like that.
What did your parents